The Mandalorian, Chapter 19, The Convert, or Episode 3 of Season 3. So this episode is so weird. It's very, very weird. But I don't think it's that bad of an episode as I think a lot of people are going to pretty much say about this episode. Now, it's not the best episode for sure. We've seen better episodes of The Mandalorian for sure. I liked last week a lot more than this week for sure. But even that first episode I like more, but this episode I think was doing something that I don't think a lot of people are going to be really looking into maybe as much than I kind of am. As I was watching, I'm like, they're doing something here, and I think it's going to be something that could be really cool. So, The Mandalorian episode, or Chapter 19, The Convert. We pick right up from the end of the last episode where Bo-Katan saved Din Djarin from the living waters, and apparently he did just sink. I don't know. Apparently they didn't know that it was like all caved in and there's like this big hole in the water now. I guess their Beskar he just sinks. I don't, like, since when does he just plummet down under the bottom of the water? I don't know, but I'm starting to get the idea that he did just sink, which is kind of weird. But after she saved them, they're kind of sitting there. She's still stunned that she saw this big creature, which we are assuming is the mythosaur. And Bo-Katan ends up asking, Din, like, did he see anything alive in the waters? And he's like, no, I didn't see anything. What did you? Or anything like that? And she's like, she just didn't bring it up. She kind of glosses over the fact that she saw anything. She's like, oh, nope, nothing, we're good. She's like, all right, you didn't see anything, we're good. You're redeemed. And she has some sort of idea. She has a plan here, and it kind of gets, sorted out a little bit. You can kind of speculate a little bit more at the end of the episode, but there's something going on with Bo-Katan here, and it's kind of interesting. So, after they leave the planet of Mandalore, they end up running into Imperial TIE, like, defenders or whatever, and they start chasing Bo-Katan. Apparently they're after Bo-Katan. She, like, steals stuff from the Empire and whatnot. Something about her ship. Maybe she got it from the Empire. She stole it back from them or something. But essentially we get this cool new fighter scene that way she saw in the trailer, and I really like this whole scene. It looks really cool. Mandalorian's definitely delivering with the, the star battle scenes. Again, like, we're getting some really cool stuff. So I do like that. We get a cool battle scene with Din Djarin and Bo-Katan. After they basically take out all the fighters that were chasing them, they're back on the planet with Bo-Katan's castle that she was just chilling in for basically no reason. I guess that's her home that she kind of grew up in or whatever. And after that, we see some TIE bombers flying overhead, and it's revealed that they went through and literally bombed up her whole home, her whole Mandalorian castle, and it's destroyed. So Bo-Katan ends up going on this, like, little vengeance moment where she's trying to take out all the TIE bombers that came through, and as she's doing so, all these, like, different TIE fighters are coming, right at her, and she has to escape. And that's where it ends. That's literally it. So what does that mean exactly? What's going on? Why did it just cut out? We got the title screen, the Mandalorian music, like, okay, we're getting off to a really crazy start. We got this cool battle. We Din Djarin, Bo-Katan. The Empire is suddenly, like, after Bo-Katan, and she just saw this crazy mythosaur creature. It's just a lot of cool, interesting stuff. And then we do a complete detour. Total detour. And I didn't expect this to be such a massive part of the episode. I actually expected the stories to link in this episode, but it did not. We see Coruscant. Welcome to Coruscant once again. Andor gave us a glimpse of Coruscant, but for some reason, it being in The Mandalorian, I'm just kind of enjoying it a little more, I suppose. The Andor, I just didn't like Andor that much to begin with, so seeing Coruscant is very nice. It's very nice to see. So we get to see some very familiar places, and we get to see some familiar faces. Welcome back, Dr. Pershing. Pershing is the guy who's been in season 1 and 2. He's like that cloning guy that was working for Moff Gideon and basically was overseeing the whole, like, experiments with Grogu. And now he is free of the Empire, apparently, and he is trying to basically work with the New Republic now because, Moff Gideon was defeated and he is currently, like, awaiting trial or something. So we get to see the life in Coruscant once again. It's always got these, like, very extremely extravagant people or whatever. They dress all weird and all that stuff. That's how Coruscant really is. And then he's part of this new group. with all these different like officers and stuff that are kind of like trying to redeem themselves from the Empire, and they're working for the New Republic now. And he ends up running across a character that we hardly saw in The Mandalorian. I think it was just season 2 she was in, but I don't remember her name. She's just the Imperial lady that worked for Moff Gideon, but she is also there in this new program or whatever for the New Republic, and she's there. Pershing runs into her, and suddenly she is just like that. She was very loyal and servant to Moff Gideon. Now she's suddenly there as like some sort of, she's redeemed now, and she wants to serve the New Republic, and she finally understands her wrongs. Like, okay, sure. So it's already mysterious and strange to begin with that we're seeing her there. She's not a big character. I don't even know her name yet, but she is returning from season 2. So we get some Pershing scenes with her kind of walking through Coruscant, seeing the beautiful city and stuff. Coruscant looked really cool. It's always cool to see Coruscant. I just love seeing Coruscant, and I think we've been so depleted of seeing this planet for so long in Star Wars under Disney, because for some reason for the longest time they felt like Coruscant didn't need to exist anymore, and now it's finally existing some more. So I will appreciate that from Andor as well. But he's basically like a citizen of Coruscant now, and they got this droid coming in and asking him questions like, how was your stay? Are you doing good at work? Are you enjoying your life on Coruscant, whatnot? And we get this scene a few times, and we get to see Pershing basically kind of fall down this whole like he's not really liking the New Republic. He doesn't like the work underneath it. He's just like a number basically. So I do see some similarities there between like the Empire and the New Republic in a way, where like this guy's just a number now, and an Imperial, or not Imperial, but he's just a number within a workforce for the New Republic. So he basically talks to this Imperial chick for a few times. I'm just gonna kind of speed it up because it kind of takes a little bit of time, but essentially he wants to continue working on his cloning projects, but the New Republic will not allow it to happen. But she says, oh, but I know a place where you can. I'll help you out because we were buddies once. So he eventually confronts her and says, all right, you've said you can help me, and I'm going to go to you and ask for help because I want to continue my cloning research. So they end up sneaking on board like this train on Coruscant, and they basically need to go to the shipyards on Coruscant where all the Imperial like ships and everything are. And this is where we get this shot that we saw in the trailers where there are Imperial Star Destroyers there on Coruscant, and the Star Destroyers basically, they're going to have all this information in rooms and equipment and whatnot that he wants for his lab. So this is why they're going there. They go through the Imperial Star Destroyer, and they get to the lab, and he grabs his things that he needs. But ultimately, like, it doesn't really matter in the end because they get captured. And I've really sped through this because really there wasn't much to the story. It's basically he meets up with an old friend from the Empire, and it's very mysterious. He wants to continue his work. He doesn't like working under the New Republic, so he sneaks around with his old friend, and she says he'll help him out because he's just being nice, right? At the end, though, they get found out by the New Republic. You got the troopers there from the New Republic, and they arrest them. And it seems like it was a complete setup. And eventually, she ends up turning on him. So she turns around and grabs the briefcase of the items that he took from the lab, and basically reveals that this was her plan all along. She set him up for the New Republic to arrest him, to basically reveal to them technically that he's actually still not reversed from his Imperial ways, and he still needs to be indoctrinated in the New Republic stuff. So that was her idea, that was her story to the New Republic, I suppose. So she right now is playing very nice for the New Republic. She gave them a guy who looks like he is against the New Republic still, and he's still for the Empire. And at the end, they basically put Pershing in this machine that looks like it's kind of like from the Bad Batch when Crosshair got his like chip enhanced and stuff, that type of machine in a way, to basically, like, it's a re-education type machine. It's basically like a wipe his memory or make him love the New Republic again. Very Empire-like, I would say, but she basically gets him into that, and I don't even know if we're going to see Pershing again after this, because it seems like we're almost moving on, and it almost looks like she cranked up the machine after everybody left, and it seemed like she wanted to kill him or something. That's what I was assuming. I don't know if he's actually dead or not, but at the end we got this like evil look of her, like she is cold and dark, and this was her plan all along. She got these materials that he wanted from the lab, and now this is like his research or whatnot that he wanted to retrieve. So I'm assuming that this is some bigger plan that she is going to bring to somebody, some bigger, higher force in the Empire, or maybe it's something for Moff Gideon to, get him released, and then they're going to go off and do their stuff again. I don't know, but right now we do know she was working for Moff Gideon, and now she's still an undercover spy for the Empire in some way, and she wanted to get some information regarding all this cloning research that Pershing was doing. So that's where we are in the story. That's basically what that story was, and it took a long time. It took such a long time to get there. This took up most of the episode. It's literally the middle portion of this episode, from the cool beginning and then the cool end. It's this big middle portion of building the story of the cloning stuff we introduced earlier on. Now, a lot of people are not going to like this, and I think it lasted too long. I think it was way too long, but I still think this is a storyline that is basically set to set up a much bigger story even outside of The Mandalorian. Now, we all know we have these different shows like Ahsoka. We were going to have the Rangers show, but now we're going to have Ahsoka, we're going to have The Mandalorian, and maybe other stuff that's not announced yet. All these different shows are supposed to interconnect. Book of Boba Fett, even though I didn't like it, that's interconnecting as well. With this Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau storyline, I think we're starting to get this bigger story built, where there's some sort of looming threat out there of the Empire still, and we know we're seeing Thrawn in the Ahsoka show. Will we see him here? That was kind of my I personally thought maybe we could start leading to Thrawn here with this story. I don't know. I don't know what Thrawn is doing at this point. We've had him mentioned in this show already from Ahsoka, so either he'll first show up in Ahsoka, which is still this year too, or maybe we'll get a glimpse of him here. Or maybe this is just Moff Gideon stuff. I don't know. But it's something to do with the Empire, I'm pretty sure. And we're going to have to see where it goes. But I think we're building to something much bigger. And I think it did develop in that way, I suppose. It did last way too long, though. And it was very strange to cut from what we had in the beginning to this. And then just completely abandon the Mandalorian storyline for a moment and spend 30 minutes or the whole massive middle portion of this episode focusing on these two very minor characters. It was kind of strange. But then we're back. Nothing happened almost. Mando and Bo-Katan, they're leaving Mandalore system. They're going back to the planet there where his creed is at with the armor and whatnot. And he's basically there to go tell her that he is redeemed. He has the waters to even prove it. So he goes up. They're very hesitant at first because he was also an apostate, and Bo-Katan is obviously not very welcome as well. But he goes and he shows Paz Vizsla that he has proof. So they go in. The armorer tests the water that he took, and it is proof that he has redeemed himself in the living waters of Mandalore. But then we get something. The armorer turns around and says, "All right, Din Djarin, you are redeemed. Bo-Katan Kryze, you are also redeemed. You are also Mandalorian again." Because we all know that the creed that is what Din Djarin's part of is you keep your helmet on, you bathe in the living waters, and you're redeemed, and suddenly you are part of that creed again. You failed, you had your helmet off, but she asks Bo-Katan, have you taken off your helmet since you bathed in the waters as well? Because she went fully in the water as well with Din Djarin. She says, "No, I haven't removed my helmet yet." The armorer says, "Then you are redeemed. If you want to leave, you can. But at the moment, you are part of this clan. You are welcome to stay." And that is something I did not expect to see happen. All right, I'm going to be completely honest. Because of the way she spoke about Bo-Katan in the Book of Boba Fett, I really expected some beef between the armorer and her, but she very much welcomed Bo-Katan in after, learning that she was also in the waters. And currently, right now, Bo-Katan is part of this creed with Din Djarin and the armorer. So it's very fascinating. I think that's very interesting. So yeah, she did not take her helmet off the whole episode since she was in the waters. Very fascinating. So it's starting to reveal this big plan of Bo-Katan's where I'm starting to think she wanted this to happen, because at the end of the episode, she's looking at this big, Beskar symbol of the mythosaur, and it's the big Mandalorian, mysterious creature, this mythological creature that's part of their history. And she knows she saw this creature in the waters of Mandalore. So now it's got me thinking, is she gonna go back to this beast and try to, control this beast in some way and maybe take control of this creed? Or she found a new clan. She has this whole new clan of Mandalorians, and maybe if she can take over somehow She has a whole new set of Mandos to go do what she wishes and rule Mandalore. I don't know. That's just a wild thought, but that kind of looks like where it could go. And the Bo-Katan story, I think, is getting very big, and I can almost see it becoming a bigger story than Din Djarin's story. I don't know what Din Djarin's story is yet, really. So far, it's done. Like, he wanted to go redeem himself, but now we're following Bo-Katan and what she's doing. It's like, all right, what is the story now? What is Din Djarin going to do? He still has the Darksaber, but does the Darksaber even matter anymore? I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but the beginning and end of this episode were the best parts for sure. The whole middle part was a completely different story. Like, completely, for now, at this moment, is different. But I think both were good. The Mando stuff with Din Djarin and Bo-Katan were much better, but I think we're building to something bigger for, the Empire stuff, and it'll probably link up later, but it was cool to see Coruscant again. I didn't like following two random characters for most of this, like, 55-minute episode, but I think we are building to something bigger, and right now I'm not going to really complain too much yet, unless it doesn't go anywhere, but I'm going to give them time to tell their story and see where it goes. But that's The Mandalorian, episode 3 or chapter 19, and yeah, it was decent. I liked last week more, but I think we're getting to a bigger story now than just Din Djarin and Grogu, and maybe that's a good thing.